We're buzzing, excuse the pun, to have our next guest here in studio because tomorrow is World Bee Day and it's all about the beautiful bee and the essential role they play in keeping us and of course our planet healthy as well. So I'd like to say welcome to our two beekeepers. We have our resident folklore Shane Lahan and we have Mark Reardon of Hive Mind. It's great to have you both here. Mark, International Bee Day, big day tomorrow. Tell us why it's so important.
Yeah, well, it's so important because honeybees are a keystone species and they're vital for us and for all the plants and all the animals around us. In every part of the world, bees are super important. Pollination is vital for plants to create the fruit that they need to create, to protect the seed that's within the fruit, to feed the birds and feed the other animals. And without those fruits and those seeds, those plants can't those plants can't create young themselves, and without that then everything starts to look a bit bleak, doesn't it?
Like we're literally lost without them.
Exactly.
We would be, you know what I mean? And it's so important, Shane, to mention that when it comes to bees, it's not just about the honey, it's about trying to keep the numbers up as well, isn't
Absolutely.
that it?
You know, Sinead, I just think Mark is one of my heroes because we don't know each other so much, but you know, we've met recently and everything we talk about, you swear we've known each other for 40 years.
Shared common interest, I suppose, and passion.
That's what I love. You know, bees are about the sense of connectivity. I went up to my own hive just before we came in. I took out the frame that you see here before us. I have a little observation hive just below us, you know.
Yes.
But you know, there's something about when I was talking to my bees, I was telling them where we were going. I was telling them that they were going to represent the bees today on the television. And there was this sense for me that, you know, we're almost at the conduit between ourselves and nature, that there is this amazing sort of understanding of, and as Mark says, I was looking at the pollen coming in, I was thinking about the trees, I was worried about the rain that's there today. You know, we all of a sudden you become so much more aware of things, and it's not about honey, it's about the craft, the vernacular craft. And Mark and myself, we were talking about this, about the sensuality of what happens with bees, but the senses that are there.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Well, you open a hive and from start to finish, the smells will change. You know, you open it first, and it hasn't been opened since the last time you were there, and there is an explosion of scent into your nose. And for me, it'll always remind me of one of the first times I've ever done it because I had never smelt that before.
Okay.
And then as you go on and you're lifting out frames, you start in where the honey is. So you start by smelling the honey and the wax, and then you might get into the brood area where the queen and all the babies are. And then the smell gets a bit different because you're in closer to the babies, so that's where the pollen and the protein is, and that's got a different smell. And then you kick up the smoker, and and then you might even get a taste of honey here and there. But you know, and different times of the year will have different pollens and nectars coming in, so they even have different tastes and different
and the bees
smells.
bring in, as Mark is saying, the bees bring in different things. One of the beautiful things they bring in is a thing called propolis.
Okay.
Now, and propolis, they use it to kind of, it's almost like a mastic. They kind of glue the hive, they disinfect the hive. But take a little smell of this.
Is this the thing that's kind of burning my eyes?
No, it's absolutely
Oh no,
fantastic.
it's lovely, isn't it?
And you know
it's
what?
It's like a spice or something.
Exactly. And the more you smell it, the more you get addicted to smelling it. Here's some pollen, just to give you another idea.
Oh, is this going to sound my hay fever, man?
And beside it, look, here's a fantastic block of beeswax.
Now this I was sniffing earlier. And it smells so sweet.
So there's something, isn't there? There's something special about what that sensuality, all those different aromas and senses and everything. But
it's amazing.
I want to tell you one funny little story because I was looking at this observation hive that I made.
Oh, you made this?
And one of the things was that years back, the mystery of the beehive, people didn't know how to work it out. And they used to say Aristotle, one of the most intelligent people in the world, he didn't know about the bees. But in Ireland, we don't have Aristotle. We have a fellow called Harry Stottle. Aristotle became Harry Stottle, a beekeeper. So Harry Stottle had a great idea one time. He'd make a beehive out of glass so he could see what was going on inside the hive.
And learn more.
He made his glass beehive. This is great. He went to bed, wait for the following morning when he got up. When he got up the following morning, all the glass was covered with wax so he couldn't see in. And he got so furious, he broke the glass, all the bees came out, stung him in the eye. He became blind in the eyes, and from there on in, he never found out about the bees. So we've a lovely folk tale about that
my
whole
goodness.
idea about the bees.
Don't mess with the bees.
Don't mess with them. No.
You've got loads of props in with you today, lads. Mark, would you mind telling me a little bit about the smoker? What it does?
You fuel it up with whatever. You could have dry grass, or you could have some egg cartons or nice, anything that smoulders. And while you're manipulating the frames within the hive, sometimes bees will get to where your fingers are going to be.
Yes.
So you put a little smoke where your fingers are going to be and where those bees are, and they'll gently move out of the way. And it distracts them then from what you're about to do.
Okay.
So it's a little bit of...
Smoke and mirrors almost.
Exactly. I was just about to say,
Literally.
cloak and dagger.
Yeah.
You get in, you can do it, and in the meantime, they're distracted by this.
So they're more distracted than stunned. It's not that kind of a
Absolutely,
thing.
yeah. And you can shift them along, slowly move them with the smoke.
But you don't over smoke them because
No,
no, and that's
almost
what-
use none.
When you see the new beekeepers, they smoke them, but you learn.
That could be a nervous thing as well as much as anything, Shane. You know what I mean? If you're new to it and you're going to put
But
your
I think
hands in.
it drives the bees a little bit madder. So you need to learn, and I think beekeeping is a craft, it's a skill. My great mentor, and I'm sure he's watching the show today, is Noel Power. Noel and Sally, they sit down and watch the Today Show every day.
Great
But
taste, Noel and Sally.
I've learned my craft from Noel. We've learned it, and we're the kind of keepers of a tradition at the moment, and we pass it on. And indeed, that's something that Mark does. You've been really instrumental in helping people, and showing people how to manage with hive mind.
Tell me about hive mind, because you're making sure that we have bees in the city. You're trying to repopulate the city with bees. How are you doing it?
Well, I started a long time, well, I suppose 15 years ago or so, but it was Noel Power as well. Another Shane's mentor just happened to help me with a thesis. I was studying at the time in UCC, and I ended up after my study and after my thesis with a lot of bees. So I started a little company where every hive would have a few owners, and every owner would get some honey from the hive at the end of the year.
Amazing.
And it got the eyes of corporates more than anyone. And eventually what I started to do was take bees up to rooftops and balconies for businesses and help to bring bees into city environments where they're kind of thin on the ground. Because most people think about beekeeping, they think about wide open spaces and forests and fields. Whereas it's just as easy to actually keep them in the city if you keep your head about you and you don't let them get a little bit out of control and you know what's going on. Then it's a great place for bees. So I always like the idea of any honey that comes from, say, a hive that's sponsored by even a cafe or a business, it gets into the mouths of a lot of people. So you're actually you're sharing a product that comes from the flower and the sun and the rain and the wind and the bees, and you're giving it to as many people as possible.
So you kind of help mind the bees and help people learn how to do that while they get the honey.
Yeah.
It's a great setup.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
And what's really interesting is that, especially in the urban environment, there's different sources of nectar that they bring in.
That's what I was going to ask, because you have loads of honey here and they're all different colours, and I was like, why?
Well, sometimes it can be from literally the time of the year, because early on, this time of the year now as well, there's the very bright honeys, lovely hawthorn honeys, there's lovely, even the apple blossom and so on that's coming in. But essentially, as you go on through the year, then you can go into the heather honeys at the end of the year. The ivy honeys are different again. So each time of the year is different, but each hive is different as well. Sometimes you get kind of a few mad bees who go off collecting stuff, and you get a different. Each hive can be different, so it's terrific.
It's so incredible to learn all of this, because I wouldn't have a clue. I would look at it and think like that, like everybody else, thinking it's something you have to do out in a wide open space. So are you constantly looking for people, Mark, other businesses to bring more bees into the city?
Yeah, it's always nice to get more businesses and more customers and more work, but at the same time, I'm a beekeeper, and to be honest with you, I think beekeepers just care about keeping bees, and I'm happy to be doing what I'm doing if it's for one company or for 10 companies. Once I can manage it, I'm happy with it.
See,
Do you know?
Mark is like some modern day monk or Buddhist, and he's got the bees put you at ease. And sometimes you go up to your apiary, up where you keep the bees. you lose time, you lose everything. So there's something really special about this. It
Quite peaceful.
It's almost antithetical to the world in which we live today, and the way people are, preoccupied with so many different things and so on. The bees give us this different world to look at.
Now, before I let you go, lads, is there one small thing that somebody watching today could do to try and help with the bee population? I see all those Attenborough videos and people talking about the sugar on the spoon, and I'm like, is that what we should be doing? Like, how can we help?
Yeah. Well, I think a very simple and low-key place to start would be just to find local honey that
Okay.
you know is local, that it is from a beekeeper, that the person you're buying from is a beekeeper, not someone who's generations before them were beekeepers and now they're buying it in from Europe and selling it, which we have a lot of. So that's a great place to start. And then if you have a bit of a green finger, or if you do like working with nature or animals, then try your hand at it. And I would say it could bring a lot more to your life than you'll bring to them.
Oh, that's incredible. Shane, thank you so much for bringing
you.
the bees in as
Delighted,
well,
yeah.
and Mark for your expertise, and both of you for your knowledge. It's much appreciated. So thank you so
very
much.
good.
Be here.
Enjoy the celebrations tomorrow for our International or World Bee Day, however you want to put it. We really appreciate it. Now, the bee